Welcome to the SMITE God reveal for DoTA, the nine-tailed fox. Long ago, the goddess Nuwa was pursued by the Emperor Zhu. His unwavering obsession for her was rejected time and time again, until one night, he slipped into Nuwa's temple, defiling the walls with poetry, espousing his undying love. In retaliation, she summoned the most conniving and wicked fox spirit in an attempt to spiral the emperor's life into misery. Little did Nuwa know what she had unleashed on the world. For thousands of years, the nine-tailed fox spirit had lived, biding its time, honing its malicious appetites. Finally, in human form, it assumed the irresistible guise of DoTA, and to Emperor Zhu, she could do no wrong. With free reign of the empire, DoTA reveled in the pain of others, taking delight in the screams of the innocent. So grievous did these atrocities grow that the people rose up and overthrew their ruler. They stormed the gates, toppled the throne, and pursued Zhu to his bedchamber, where the crazed emperor finally took his own life. DoTA, however, managed to escape and conceal herself. Years have passed, and finally she has come out of hiding, desperate to quell her thirst for misery once more. DoTA's passive is Torture Blades. DoTA's sharp claws cause her enemies to bleed when struck by her basic attacks. Bleed damage causes the enemy to take additional damage every second for 2 seconds and can stack any number of times on the same target. DoTA's first ability is Horrible Burns. DoTA heats up her claws, causing her next successfully hit basic attack to burn the target, dealing instant bonus damage and additional damage every second for 3 seconds. DoTA's second ability is 1,000 Cuts. DoTA lashes out with her claws at nearby enemies, executing 4 strikes that damage all enemies in range. These hits apply the bleed from her passive. While this ability is channeling, DoTA gains increased movement speed, immunity to slows, and her tails mitigate damage dealt to her by enemies who are behind her. DoTA's third ability is Trickster Spirit. DoTA selects a single allied or enemy target and teleports to their location after a short delay. Upon arriving at the target, she lashes out with her claws, dealing damage and applying the bleed from Torture Blades to all enemies around her. DoTA's ultimate is Powwow. DoTA summons her signature torture device, the Powwow. As she hovers above the device, she may fire up to 3 shots. Each god hit takes damage and becomes chained and slowed. At the end of her ability, chained enemies are pulled to the Powwow, becoming stunned and then taking damage 3 times over 2 seconds. DoTA then leaps from the Powwow to a nearby ground location. If a god hit by this ability becomes crowd control immune at any time, they break the chain on them and cannot be chained again until this ability ends. DoTA wants to jump onto an isolated target, apply her bleeds, and escape from a fight quickly. Activate Horrible Burns and use Trickster Spirit to teleport to your victim. Apply Horrible Burns with an in-hand attack and then activate 1,000 Cuts. If you have the advantage, use 1,000 Cuts to further damage your target. If you are in danger, use the movement speed and damage mitigation from this ability to flee. Players who are more advanced can deal slightly more damage with the Torture Blades combo. To do that, don't activate your Horrible Burns prior to engaging, but after you have engaged. Use Trickster Spirit to teleport to your victim and immediately use an in-hand attack. Once you see your in-hand attack deal damage, activate Horrible Burns. This will reset your in-hand attack chain, allowing you to use another in-hand attack immediately. After the second in-hand attack lands, activate 1,000 Cuts and use it to stay or flee. This combination will give you an additional in-hand attack and stack of Torture Blades worth of damage. DoTA can use the Powwow to engage the enemy team, flee the enemy team, or even single out an enemy for a large amount of damage. When trying to start a team fight, use the ultimate and try to hit as many targets as possible. When leaping from the Powwow, try to position yourself where you will be able to fight the enemy team. When trying to flee, use the Powwow to avoid damage and only pull enemies who are unable to chase or are trying to block your escape. When leaping from the Powwow, try to position yourself onto an escape route away from the enemy team. Finally, when trying to defeat a single opponent, rise into the Powwow and quickly land all 3 chains onto the target. When landing, pick a location close to your enemy so you can immediately begin using your attacks on the unfortunate target. Trickster Spirit is a great engage or escape tool that can be risky to use. There is a delay before teleporting to your selected target, so be aware that skilled players can get ready for your arrival. Be wary of using this ability on someone like Scylla or Odin, as they can land a guaranteed crush or bird bomb when you arrive. Look to jump on these targets when these abilities are down or when you are sure that you can take the damage. DoTA is a tricky assassin. By using Trickster Spirit, she can jump onto a squishy enemy in the back line and use horrible burns and 1000 cuts to slice through her target. She can use Powwow to engage a team fight and pull her targets towards her and her team, and remove the guardians that are protecting the carries. While she is mobile, she can be locked down fairly easily. Pair her with characters like Aphrodite or Geb to help her escape fights, or with characters that can combo from the Powwow like Scylla or Poseidon. For DoTA's ability order, you will want to begin with 1000 Cuts. This ability has strong clearing power, which will help you deal with early minion waves and jungle monsters. At level 2, place a point into Trickster Spirit to allow for early engages or escapes. This ability can also help clear out groups of minions. Next, get your first point in Horrible Burns. From here, your priority will be Powwow, 1000 Cuts, Horrible Burns, and Trickster Spirit. DoTA's build should focus on giving her as much damage as possible by both providing her with a large amount of raw physical power and cooldown reduction. Start with Boomba's Mask, Bluestone Pendant, and a few wards. DoTA will generally be a jungler, so the increased clear from these 2 starters will help. Next, rush Warrior's Tabby for a boost in mobility and power to help fight opponents. Your next 3 pickups are Hydra's Lament, Jotun's Wrath, and Titan's Bane. These items give a good amount of power, cooldown reduction, and penetration to deal with tankier targets. Finally, close out your build with Transcendence and Bloodforge. These 2 items have the most power on them, and given DoTA's high scaling, these items will provide a huge boost to her damage. Bloodforge also gives DoTA a shield and increased movement speed after getting a kill, giving her a better chance at continuing or escaping a fight. Thanks for watching the SMITE God reveal for DoTA, the 9-tailed fox.